Hey guys, what's cracking? It is Krakenation. I'm coming at you guys today to talk about Galarian Weezing. This Pokemon has been requested really often on my channel. And if you guys are people, there's a lot of people that are leaving like individual Pokemon as well. I'm really working on getting around to all of them. I've still got a huge list. We're going to try to get around to every single Pokemon, as well as some old evolutions, old Pokemon that haven't been, that have been intensely updated that I haven't gone over. So I'm trying to get through a lot of them. Be patient with me. Keep requesting them. Please don't get upset with me if the Pokemon that you've been requesting a lot hasn't come up yet. I'm doing my best. If more people request a certain Pokemon, that Mon just moves right up my list. And so today we're going to talk about Galarian Weezing. So Galarian Weezing was announced super early. It's waited for Nintendo to build hype for Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's a unique typing in Poison and Fairy. It's got a cool ability in neutralizing gas that makes all abilities on the field useless. Misty Surge is an interesting one that we just found out about that puts the fairy typing on the field. That puts Misty Terrain on the field. That's going to be neutralize dragon attacks, make them half damage, make all status effects ineffective, as well as for all grounded Pokemon. That's what it does, exactly. And then Levitate, it's obviously its other ability similar to regular Weezing. Now, Galarian Weezing is interesting because it's kind of wearing it's like regular Weezing, but gray and wearing top hats. Now, those top hats clearly look suggestive of maybe some medicinal properties. We'll leave it at that if I guess. But clearly there's some suggestive top hat imagery going on here, if you will. But definitely an interesting Pokemon, a very strange design, and we're going to take a look at its competitive viability today. So looking at its HP stat and defense stat, that's going to be what stands out to you right away. Good physical defense overall, good physical bulk, decent attack and special attack, so decent mixed offenses. Nothing to write home about, but it's got decent mixed offenses. Pretty low special defense though, so you're going to be very exploitable on the special side. And your speed stat's obviously pretty garbage, so definitely not going to be outspeeding anything. So mostly you're going to want to use this as kind of like a physical tank, hopefully get some chip damage on things, stomach some strong physical attack. It's got an interesting typing. Thanks to Levitate, one of its weaknesses being ground type could easily become an immunity, so that's pretty cool. So that only leaves it with weaknesses to, I believe, Steel and Psychic, which are pretty, Steel's but Psychic's pretty rare, so that's not the worst. It's a pretty decent defensive typing overall, I would say. Taking a look at notable moves, there are a lot of them. I think the ones I want to talk about today are mostly the special attacking moves. So that's going to be Strange Steam is your signature kind of move on Galarian Weezing, and that's going to be your go-to move. It's a 95 base power special attacking fairy move. That's got a 20% confusion chance. A very good move. You've got access to things like Sludge Bomb and also fire moves. So I put fire there, but I meant to put Fire Blast. But also you've got Heat Wave, you've got Flamethrower, you've got Overheat. So it's a good thing I only wrote fire because this thing's got fire coverage to hit steel types. It's got a really nice utility move pool, things like Aromatherapy, Clear Smog, Pain Split, Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, even Toxic Spikes is really interesting. Also Memento and Taunt. It's got a really useful utility move pool. It's also got some physical moves like Play Rough, like Explosion, but unfortunately it's got no physical poison type move, so it literally has none. So when you're running this thing, I think you're going to want to run it as a special attacker for the most part. Taking a look at the first set I've made for you guys here today, this is the defensive utility Weezing. We're gonna run item leftovers. Obviously, you can make that black sludge instead if that's something you have access to. Your ability, we're gonna make it Levitate to give you that immunity, whereas you would have had a weakness to the ground typing. I think Levitate's gonna be its best ability. Neutralizing gas doesn't strike me as particularly helpful. It's basically Mold Breaker. And Misty Surge isn't that useful because you are a Pokemon that actually wants to achieve a lot of status conditions as Galarian Weezing. So you don't want your opponent to be immune to status effects. Also, you yourself are immune to poison, and you're also not even grounded. So it's not like your Misty Surge is going to help you out. It's really only going to help your opponent. So for that reason, I definitely don't think... It's not like having Dragon types is helpful for Galarian Weezing either, because you're already a Fairy type, so you're not going to take any damage from Dragon type attacks. So just all in all, I really feel like you're going to want to run Levitate as your go-to ability. We're going to run max HP, max defense with a bold nature. That's going to allow you to tank those physical hits as well as you can. And finally, Will-O-Wisp plus Pain Split will actually give you really good survivability against physical attackers. Basically, you can burn the physical attacker, come in, eat some hits, burn it, Pain Split up some damage. Strange Steam and Sludge Bomb, we're going to give you dual stab. This thing's got access to some great stab moves. So, unfortunately, it can't hit steel types with this set. That's going to be how you need to support it. But this set is useful. I think another option you could run over maybe Toxic or Will-O-Wisp is, or even Pain Split if you wanted, I guess. A really good option would be Toxic Spikes if you had a team that appreciated Toxic Spikes usage. And so I would definitely consider that. The next set I've got here is a special attacker, and we're going to run Life Orb, and 252 special attack in this set, and this time we're going to run Fire Blast so we can hit those steel types. This set achieves pretty solid coverage, able to hit a lot of different things. Since steel types resist your 2 stabs, Fire Blast will be a great move to hit them. You also run Flamethrower if you wanted to shy away from those misses. Pain Split, Destiny Bond, Willow's Toxic, also Toxic Spikes notably. There's not enough space here to fit all that. There's a lot of different options you have for that last spot as far as different utility moves. Another option might be Clear Smog, but Pain Split's really good, Destiny Bond's really good, Will-O-Wisp, Toxic Spikes. You've got a lot of options, so that's going to be something I leave up to you guys to decide what your team could really benefit from. Pros and cons of Galarian Weezing. It's got a unique typing. Those are always a lot of fun. It's got a really good utility move pool, which is also awesome. We just looked at a ton of moves and a ton of options that you can use to fill space and kind of complement the other things in your team. It's got necessary coverage. Access to Fire Blast is really nice for this Pokemon. There's a lot of times where a Pokemon just doesn't need the one coverage move. It doesn't have the one coverage move it needs to hit like the one thing that walls and stabs. Galarian Weezing does have that, so the Fire Blast it achieves really nice coverage, and you're basically always going to run those 3 attacks. Finally, obviously, good physical bulk is the most standout attribute of Galarian Weezing, and that's going to be really helpful for you. However, there are cons. Poor special bulk will leave you very exploited by special attackers. It's got a pretty mediocre physical move pool. No physical poison move is going to mean you can't utilize that physical attack stat nearly as much as you might expect. Unreliable recovery, because Pain Split's your best recovery move. Now, your HP stat is low, so it's helped by that, but overall, Pain Split can be unreliable. And finally, underwhelming offense. In general, you're going to be kind of underimpressed because your special attacks are only coming off a base 85 special attack stat. You're going to be probably a little disappointed by how hard this thing is capable of hitting. Looking at team options and threats to your Galarian Weezing, I think Dark types are going to be a really good partner for Galarian Weezing. Dark types being weak to bug types, to fighting types, and to fairy types, all of which Galarian Weezing resists and can do heavy damage to. That's going to be really useful. It also can hit them with stab moves, for example. Poison types, they beat those fairy moves. Those fairy Pokemon, you can use Fire Blast to hit those bug types. Fairy moves hit those fighting types. So you're going to achieve a lot of really good coverage. It's going to synergize really, really well with Dark types. And in return, obviously, Dark types can switch in and beat some of Galarian Weezing's fears, especially Psychic types. Bulky Water types are also going to be good partners for Galarian Weezing. Galarian Weezing is afraid of Steel types, and bulky Water types can take on those Steel types as far as offensively. Galarian Weezing is afraid of them. Now, obviously, you have Fire Blast, so you have a move to clean them up. But that said, you don't want to be taking Steel attacks if something is faster than you or is going to be able to deliver an attack. So bulky Water types could be a good partner. Now, some threats you want to look out for, there's quite a few of them, even some I didn't include in this list. Special walls are a big problem for you, and special attackers, to be honest. Both special walls and special attackers will utilize your weaker stats on Galarian Weezing in general, namely special walls. Obviously, your special attack is a little underwhelming, so you're going to be kind of in a tough spot as far as... let me rephrase that. You're going to be in a tough spot as far as trying to deal that damage to special walls. Special attackers are also a big problem for you because they can exploit your weaker special defense stat. Pokemon that appreciate Misty Surge are a big problem for Galarian Weezing, and that's because it itself is not grounded when you're running Levitate, obviously. So you're going to run Levitate, so you can't run Misty Surge. That basically eliminates it because you're basically only ever going to be helping your opponent when you run Misty Surge. So you're going to force to run Levitate. That makes that ability that otherwise is really useful on something like Tapu Fini, for example, in the past, very useless. Finally, defensive teams are going to be a big problem for Galarian Weezing in general, just because it's not quite as wall breaky as it needs to be. Now, you could run something like Taunt and make it a little better against those teams, but in general, it's not going to be quite that good. So I think Galarian Weezing is an interesting Pokemon. I don't expect it to be very competitively powerful. I think it could easily be like an Enumon or something. But it's certainly got a unique typing. It's got some things I like about it, so I definitely would want to give it a shot if I were you. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. Let me know what you think about Galarian Weezing. Are you going to try it out? What sets are you excited to try? If you disagree with anything I said in this video, feel free to let me know. But until then, I will see you guys later. Krakenation out.